Happy New Year, everyone. 2024 is said and done, but as we move into 2025, I want to take a look back at some of the best toys from 2024, at least in my opinion. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, then you know I collect heavy into Star Wars, Nintendo, Sonic, we have Pokemon, Halo, and then a bunch of other things in between. So unfortunately, you're not going to see any Power Rangers, Turtles, Marvel Legends, Transformers. I mean, I do have some Transformers stuff, and I pick up ones that I want here and there, but you're not going to see a lot of those on this top video. And I'm sure there's plenty of other channels out there that will cover those figures if you want to look at them. So this will at least give you a different perspective on maybe some figures that you've never seen before or are new to in the collecting game. Before we get started and I turn on my studio lights, I want to show you this cool little display I've been working on. So I bought that white floating shelf right there from IKEA. Actually, I have another one right there. I plan on doing a video to show you like the shelf and like, you know, its value and all that kind of stuff. But this is where I'm displaying my Micro Galaxy Squadron. I have all my rares and chases up there that I've collected or been, you know, obviously gifted from Jazzwares. And I have a bunch of ships up there to display. And then I also put some of my X-Wings over there too. You know, I'm a big fan of putting like the command strips and hanging them from fishing wire. So I'm gonna move those gunships over there next to Yoda's head probably. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of this so far, and look forward to that floating shelf video because I'm sure it'll be coming here soon. Let's start with honorable mentions. Toys that maybe didn't make the top list but are still good nonetheless. First on the list are these helmets. We have Captain Rex from the Star Wars Black Series and Hasbro, and then we have Darth Revan from Jazzwares Costumes. Now these are both phenomenal pieces and they differ in price quite a bit. I believe Darth Revan was like $69 and then Captain Rex was over $100. So I did do reviews and unboxings on both of these on the channel, so if you're curious, check them out. I'll put them in the description or I'll link them somewhere up here. These made it to the honorable mention because, you know, they're not really like toys, like figures. They're obviously helmets. You wear them. They have some features. Captain Rex does have some nice details on the inside. There's also like a little voice changer, which is not the best. I mean, it kind of is what it is. The Darth Revan helmet is really nice because A, it's Darth Revan, my favorite Star Wars character. It does have some nice details on the inside, but it is pretty simple while still maintaining a really good look of Revan. I guess we'll keep the Star Wars train going with these two figures, Ki-Adi-Mundi and Emperor Palpatine from Revenge of the Sith. Now, this was probably my lowest buying year of Star Wars The Black Series. For some reason, I'm not as passionate about that line as I used to be. You know, I didn't watch Acolyte. I haven't watched Skeleton Crew yet. I mean, people say some good things about it, but I haven't watched it just yet. So I really only picked up these two figures. I mean, I still need to pick up Saboba, and there's a few other pre-orders that I still need to grab from like Entertainment Earth. But I do really enjoy them. I mean, the pinless joints are awesome. The sculpting to them is fantastic. Hasbro does do a good job with the Black Series, don't get me wrong, but sometimes those prices, man, I'm like, I guess I'll wait for a sale or hopefully a clearance, you know? They're prequel characters, and that's my favorite era of Star Wars aside from KOTOR, so I had to pick them up, and I'll pick up a lot of, you know, prequel style characters, you know, especially clones. The next honorable mention is going to be this Charizard plush right here, and the reason why it makes it to this list is because, you know, it's not really like a toy, like an action figure. Rather, you know, it's a plush. If you're new to the channel, then yes, I'm a big plush collector, especially vintage items. But this Charizard has been the greatest Charizard plush that I have ever seen, aside from this Heartland Tomy, which I will eventually do a video on. But I mean, it's beautiful. It was only like $54. I found it at GameStop. They're apparently on Walmart as well. But I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. Now, I did place this like straw underneath its chin to help keep its head propped up. You know, I could take it out and it'll be fine. As time and gravity goes on, my fear is that the head will, you know, sag down even more. So to prevent that from happening, and since I am such a, you know, plush nut, I guess you could say, I put that straw underneath there just to keep him propped up. But if you do want to find out more about this beautiful Charizard plush, I did, of course, upload a full review on the channel. My last honorable mention, and I guess technically it should be on the list, is the Micro Galaxy Squadron pod racers. If you know me, then you know how much I love pod racers in general. So we have two brand new vehicles to the collection, and we do have Saboba, which is a re-release, but he is battle damaged. And you know, to be honest, I would have liked to have seen a brand new pod in there instead of Saboba. You know, let's get the entire roster. You know, that's my goal for Micro Galaxy Squadron. The Ebon Hawk, all the pod racers. If I can get that, I'm a happy camper. So again, these are a Target exclusive, $34.99, and after tax, you're paying like, what, $13 a pod, which I think is a great deal. I'll post the link in the description below. I know these are still available right now. I mean, they do have some articulation. It's not a crazy amount because, I mean, they're pod racers, but where they do have them, it's ball joints here, like the cables, the binding cable, you know, connecting the engines. So if you want to display them with some character, then you can do so. And they do come with stands, which is important for a lot of collectors in Micro Galaxy Squadron. And when it comes to pod racers, you know, that's very important to me as well. All right, let's move into the main list. So I could technically make this as long as I wanted to, but I think I'll just keep it to the top 10 figures of 2024. First on the list is the World of Halo from the Jazzwares Vault. So they have been releasing more figures throughout this year, which has been great because retailers have seemed to abandon the Halo line. You know, it's not so much in the spotlight anymore. Infinite had a delayed release. The series or the show was not good at all. And, you know, there's some things that kind of fell through the cracks for Halo, but Jazzwares is still able to pump out figures through their vault. Now, I love Spartans in general for this 4-inch line. I mean, they're fantastic. They look great. I mean, this Promethean soldier is phenomenal. I mean, the posability you can get out of him is unreal. Now, they've released a lot of different figures throughout this year, but these in particular have been my favorites. The pricing has been a little mixed match. Like some of the single carded releases have gone for like $20, whereas some of the 2-packs have gone for like $30. So I'd like to see a little bit more consistency there, but they're always running specials and deals and like some sort of discounts. So either way, you can get these figures at a great price. Here we have Neo Metal Sonic. So there's a lot to cover with this figure. First off, this is the very first time Neo Metal Sonic has gotten a figure since Sonic Heroes, which was over 20 years ago. That came out in 2003. So, big deal here, and this is one of the reasons why it's on my list. It is the very first appearance of Neo Metal Sonic, and I can't believe Jazzwares never made a figure, Tomy never made a figure, or any other type of company brought this character to life. I mean, I guess Finesse, the skateboarding brand, did a skateboard deck of him, but this has been it. Now, you can see that he is sealed, alright? So I do collect a lot of the Jakks mainline figures, so I have a good idea of what his articulation is going to be like. But this was the only figure I could find of Neo Metal Sonic. And what the issue is there is only one of this figure per case. As far as I know, he has not hit Walmart stores. He's mostly hit Target stores. I'm not sure about Macy's, but he has been so difficult to find. And as a result, his aftermarket prices are like through the roof. They're like $70 plus, and they keep climbing. The only way that those prices will go down is if Jakks re-releases this figure and puts more out there for us collectors. So it made this list because of how great this figure looks. I know the articulation is going to be there based on what I've seen within their main line. Here we have the ATTE from Micro Galaxy Squadron. Now, there's a lot of obvious reasons why I love this toy or I love this vehicle. First off, it's $30, okay? You get the vehicle and 5 figures, including Captain Rex, which is phenomenal. Now, there is an immense amount of articulation throughout this entire vehicle. Like, it's crazy. Like, the legs move, the turrets move, the top cannon can spin a full 360. You can take off the back of the ATTE and hold even more figures, as well as speeder bikes, and there's a platform that drops down below to access the ground level. Now, there's an interesting comparison going around for Lego and Micro Galaxy Squadron. The amount of money you're paying for a Lego ship versus a Micro Galaxy Squadron, and you're getting a lot more bang for your buck with the Micro Galaxy Squadron versus the Lego. Of course, this video is up on my channel, so if you're curious about it, check it out. And I believe these are still available at Target stores, and I've definitely seen them at Walmart. If there's links available, they will be in the description below. This King Boo set makes it to the list for a few reasons. First off, this is like the very first King Boo figure. For some reason, they just don't make any merch of him. I mean, they have like the little Mario Kart figure and like a few little one-off items like a little plastic ring and stuff like that, but this is the very first figure. This set only costs $30, which is also a big bonus. So you're getting King Boo, you're also getting a little normal Boo, and then Luigi himself, which is an updated sculpt, updated paint applications, and he has a little bit more improved articulation. But this figure has some great functionality. It has a little roller at the bottom of him, so the arms will move up and down and the tongue will come out as you roll that figure. But probably the best feature to this set is going to be the glow-in-the-dark effect. So they did previously release a small Boo, and it had a glow-in-the-dark look to it, but it was like a greenish like hue. This has a like ice blue looking glow. It's really nice. And it's super strong too. So I took one of my studio lights, put it over the figure for like, I don't know, 4 minutes or so, took it off, and this is what you see here. It is absolutely beautiful. And even with like minimal lighting, like if I'm filming something and I leave the room and I turn off the light, you can still see that figure glowing on shelf. So for the price, the overall character design, the look, and the functionality, this figure makes it to the list, and hopefully they make a Luigi's Mansion style King Boo figure. Now this should be no surprise, the HasLab crowdfunding Ghost. Now there's a lot of reasons why this made my list, but there's also a few reasons why I would have considered not adding it and making it just an honorable mention. One of the points being that this is a crowdfunding. This isn't something that you could just go to the store and pick this up. This is like a big deal, a big purchase. Not everybody can afford this or even have the space for this thing. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, I'm putting it over there somewhere. I have a few things that I might do to actually display it properly, but I didn't even do a full unboxing and review on this thing. You know, I was still getting over being sick, and a lot of people have already covered this on their YouTube channel, so I was like, you know what, I may just pass on doing a review for this. But I love this thing because it is so unique, it's very niche, and it's just one of those, you know, one-of-a-kind type of toys, vehicles, and offerings. You know, they're not going to make this thing again. So we do have the removable cockpit, which is great. The Phantom does come off, so we can take off this panel right here, and then this one as well. And that will reveal the entire cabin space, or at least what they have sculpted. You know, we are missing a few rooms that should have been available here. Everything is really laid out nice and clean. There's a lot of paint applications. There's places to store your figures all over the place. It did come with some accessories. All this kind of got jumbled up as I took it off shelf, but it did come with like the little leather chair with like the animal skin on it, like a lunch table. You know, what is that? And then it did come with like some little stools, which kind of fell somewhere in here. Somewhere in there I'll find them, but it does have access to like the lower portion of the Ghost with like a little loading ramp right here, and so you can put your figures in there. It's not technically in scale right there, so, but it made the list because of how unique it is. You know, it's a very popular vehicle, and you know, they're not going to do this thing again. The paint applications look great. I love the oil, you know, look to those turbines, and it made my list because of just how unique it is. You know, it's going to be something that we're going to be talking about for decades to come. The immense amount of playability you can get out of this thing is awesome. I mean, it is the Ghost. You know, it's so cool. It's not technically 100% in scale. It does come with the Phantom 2, and which is definitely a lot smaller than it should be. It does hold one figure, but it does have a built-in little chopper right there. It's really cool. It does have some landing gear that can fold into the body, but great addition. I do wish this was a little bit bigger. Now, it didn't come with the entire crew. It came with 4 figures: Ezra, Zeb, Kanan, and Hera. You did have to buy Chopper and Sabine separately. I did put them in like that Walmart end cap display. One of the employees gave it to me. They were going to throw it away because there was like 1 or 2 figures in there, and I was like, hey, can I have this thing? And they said, as long as you put the other figures on shelf, you can have it. So I took it, and I'm going to put them there for now because I think it looks pretty good. But I would say that is a big downside to this HasLab Ghost crowdfunding. It should have included the entire crew, you know, 100%, regardless, you know. So that was a little bit of a bummer that people had to buy those 2 figures separately. But all in all, I am very happy with this purchase. It's honestly like a work of art, you know, in a sense, and I'm excited to, you know, keep looking at it for years to come, and for my kids to eventually be playing with this and to hopefully fall in love with Star Wars as well. It should be no surprise that the Pokemon Trainer Team Series makes this list. Jazzwares had another good year, releasing some awesome Pokemon. For me, the standout figures is definitely Garchomp and Flygon. Lots of functionality to them. The ergonomics look great, and again, they still maintain that $20 price point, which is so insane. Flygon was absolutely killer. A surprise Pokemon, to be sure, but definitely a welcome one. The articulation is so fluid and it's so nice. I mean, I display mine on the stand all the time, and it just looks so good. I remember when it first started hitting stores, people were snatching them up left and right. Like, I couldn't find one on shelf for like the longest time. I did place mine for like order pickup or shipping, so I was able to get it that way. And Garchomp was actually the first Pokemon in a 2-pack, which was a re-release with Charizard, and Charizard has been the only re-release, aside from Rayquaza, to make another appearance from the Trainer Team series. So I'm curious how they plan on doing that moving forward. I mean, there's some people that are just getting into the Pokemon Trainer Team series or just figuring it out, and they maybe missed out on the legendary birds, and maybe a few other Pokemon. So I'm curious if they're actually going to re-release figures down the line, because as of right now, Charizard and Rayquaza have been the only ones to get a re-release. And I think Rayquaza only got the re-release due to Pokemon Horizons. Entei was also released this year, and it's an equally as good figure. It doesn't have quite as much range of motion. Suicune is definitely the best out of the legendary beasts. But the significance behind having Entei this year is we have the complete legendary beast lineup. And this is actually a big deal because this has never been done before, at least to this scale. And unfortunately, these prices are already starting to skyrocket for Suicune and Raikou. So being able to have the trio is going to be a big deal moving forward. It should be no surprise that the Sonic Movie 3 figures are making this list. Here we have Shadow and Sonic, as well as Shadow with his motorcycle set. Now these figures are incredible. Jakks Pacific just keeps getting better and better with their Sonic figures. Last year they killed it with the Prime, and this year they raised the bar even more with their Sonic Movie 3 figures. The single carded figures cost $15 each. Let that sink in. $15 for these excellent figures. We have butterfly joints, crazy articulation at the arms and the legs, and then who could forget that crazy realistic 3D eye. But I think my favorite part about these figures is how good of a blend they are between how we see these characters within the games as well as the movie. Like, they don't stray away from the design or make them look too wonky, so you could really create any scene that you wanted to, and these figures will fit in there just fine. And then we have the Shadow with motorcycle set, only costing $20. So you get the motorcycle, which looks like a Ducati. You get the Shadow figure, which is a little less articulated than the $15 carded figures, but it's still a great figure nonetheless. Of course, you know there's going to be some Hammond Collection on this list. So Jurassic World Dominion wasn't my all-time favorite Jurassic film. It had some really cool elements, so being able to get the Giganotosaurus and the Therizinosaurus from that film in the Hammond Collection was awesome. The Hammond Collection is one of my favorite modern-day toy lines to collect. Just how much value they pack into these dinosaurs is unreal. Like, the Therizinosaurus has so much articulation all the way down to like the claws. Like, you can bend them forwards, backwards, and you can also rotate the nails all the way around. It's crazy what they were able to do with that figure. The Giganotosaurus is just as impressive. I mean, it's just a big behemoth of a figure. You know, the glass eye still looks so good on these figures. They were really able to fine-tune the look of them, you know, with like trial and error with the first Rexy to what we have now. It looks so good. I mean, for me, as a Jurassic fan, as a dinosaur fan, having these in my collection has been a dream. You know, being able to get dinosaurs that are this highly articulated and they look that good. I mean, man, if I had these as a kid, I would have lost my mind. But I mean, hey, at least we have them now. I did upload videos on both of these, so check them out because they're great. Target exclusive figures. The price points, I believe, $49 for the Giganotosaurus, and I think $40 for the Therizinosaurus. Incredible deals. And I believe they're still up on the Target app. Who would have thought that 2 Ghost ships would make this list? It's been a big year for the Ghost crew. So Micro Galaxy Squadron released 2 versions of the Ghost. This is the normal one that you can find at Target and Walmart stores. They also released on Amazon exclusive. It has battle damage, it comes with 2 Y-Wings, the Phantom 1, and it has the entire Ghost crew. But this thing is so incredible, it might be their best vehicle. When you open up that top panel, it exposes the entire Ghost with like all the different rooms and corridors and just like the back end of the ship. There's even a compartment underneath that you take off the little grates. But this thing is so immersive. I mean, for $59, you're getting all of that. You can dock either the Phantom 1 or the Phantom 2 on the back of the ship. It does have lights and sounds, and you could also dock Y-Wings on the side of the Ghost. There's a panel on the side, you pull it out, flip it around, and you can put Y-Wings on there. Another beautiful Hammond Collection figure makes it to this list. It's been a really good year for this line. They've released a lot of different figures, but this one is probably my favorite. And for a few reasons. A, it's the Allosaurus, and B, on the sides of the packaging, they acknowledge the battle at Big Rock, which is, in my opinion, a very big deal, because that means we could probably get the Nasutoceratops at some point. Now, this figure checks all the boxes for me: the price point, the sculpting, the articulation, the paint applications, and then even the little glass eye. Now, I would have liked to have seen the pupil be a little bit bigger and a little bit more prominent, but under the correct lighting, it still looks really good. We did get this figure late into the year, kind of like we did last year with the Carnotaurus, but I mean, hey, it slid in there. It's one of my favorite figures. It is still available now on the Target app. Again, the products will be in the description below. I did upload a full unboxing and review of this, so be sure to check that out. And for the final figures on this list, Sonic Movie 3 Light Up, Super Shadow, and Super Sonic. I love these figures. I feel pretty confident saying that these are my favorite figures from 2024. I mean, maybe I'm just still coming off of watching Sonic Movie 3 and seeing the end scenes with these two characters. I mean, I am getting chills just thinking about it, and if you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you haven't seen the movie, what are you doing? Go watch the movie like right now after you watch this video. This is a 2-pack. So far, it can only be found at Target stores, $30, and you're getting both of these figures. Jack specific, I don't know how they were able to do this, but they have crushed this Sonic Movie 3 line. Absolutely incredible. The light up feature is really nice. It's not like gimmicky or cheap at all. You press the little button at their fur and their head lights up. There's even like little translucent quills which allow the light to shine through as well. They have slightly less articulation than the single carded figures, but that is okay because they had to make room for like the electronics and things like that. But you still get an epic amount of articulation and range of motion from them. I think the only things that they're missing is like the butterfly joints and like the ball joint at the head, but that is pretty much it. The coloration to these figures is spot on. We have the realistic eyes, and just overall from head to ears, these are a 10 out of 10. These did hit shelves in the masses, like on day one, like my Target store had like 15 of them in stock. They have been a little bit harder to find, I mean, naturally, since the movie just came out. But the links will be in the description below. You gotta grab this set. I mean, it is a piece we will be looking back on from decades to come. But thank you so much for watching this top video of 2024. I really hope you enjoyed the offerings and the selections. I mean, these are the ones that really resonated to me. Hopefully some new figures that you had no idea about, or maybe you were already a fan of them and you wanted to see a little bit more. Make sure you connect with me on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date when new things drop, like the brand new offerings of 2025. I also post toy photography and toy videos, things you won't see here on YouTube. Until then, collectors, I'll see y'all in the new year.